Hello and welcome to Qualitative 360 in Istanbul. I'm delighted to be joined by Peter Niegel. Peter, thank you very much for joining me. Do you want to first of all give a little introduction to yourself?
Yes, my name is Peter Niegel. I'm from the Danish Broadcasting Corporation, which is a smaller version of the BBC in Denmark. I work mainly with radio, but also with social media and also with online things. A little bit about my paper.
Yeah, well, I've heard some good things of your paper from people spilling out of the conference room, and I've heard that it's gone down well. So do you want to tell us a little bit about it?
It's basically it's about getting into the consumer situation with the consumer, which is hard. It's a big has always been a big problem for us qualis to get into the consumer situation without us actually being present. So the paper is basically about how you can recruit agents to do the work for you. I would recruit your girlfriend to spy on you one morning. Yes.
Great.
For what are you listening to? Why are you listening to it? And why is the thing that you actually think that you like may not be the thing that you listen to for most of the time? So basically, it was the agent methodology, the use of agents to get closer to the customer was what I was talking about.
And so is this specifically something for broadcasting, or can this be taken outside of that into wider industries?
I think it could be used everywhere. I've had a lot of people coming up to me and saying that they're going to steal it, and that's what it's all about. We're in public service, so steal whatever you can. It's just basically a good idea to get under the covers and into everyday life, because cameras and that sort of thing isn't going to do the trick. You need the inside of the agent, the spouse, to really get into the understanding of the usage of the product.
Really interesting stuff. And with regards to other papers and other presentations that have been going on at this event, has anything caught your eye? Anything that's particularly interesting you?
Yes, I thought I think that the best presentation I've heard so far was the one from Kiosk, the English presentation, which was about mobile ethnography. It has been a developing methodology for a couple of years, but I think that the researcher gave a very convincing case that this methodology is now mature and can be taken into consideration. We really need to take it into consideration. I already think that I'm behind, that I have to stop now and run back home and get started on this, because it was very interesting. We've been dabbling a little bit with it in the Danish Broadcasting Corporation, but I think, and my colleague and I have been talking about it, and we're very interested in this methodology. We really think that is the future for Qual, because that's what this is all about. Getting in there, getting into the moment, getting into when does this decision happen? When does the consumer decide what to do, and what are the impacts? Why? How? All these things it's about getting closer to the customer, and I think this is one of the things that will enable us to do just that. Of course, younger demographics first. But let's start with the younger demographics, and then as time goes, I think it'll be something that we can use on anybody.
Okay. And this kiosk presentation was, like you said, about getting into kind of areas that you might not be able to access before. Yeah. And it was northern Nigeria. Was that the example that it gave in the presentation?
Well, that's maybe another part of it. That wasn't what caught my attention, but that is true, of course. Geographic problems and just basically geographically hard to access areas, but more importantly, getting into those subcultures, or getting into those areas in everyday life which you don't really access because it's covered in. I don't sound and look like a 16-year-old teenager. So being in the situation with a 16-year-old teenager, I would be the odd one out. But this is also another way of getting in there, and they share it with us. Sharing with us the daily, everyday experiences of their lives. Yeah, it's good.
Peter, thank you very much for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed the rest of the presentation.
Thanks for having me. Thanks.